And we are live.
All right. For the final time of Spellbound Survivor Land of Oz, welcome to Tribal Council. But not just any Tribal Council. Oh, no, no, no. This is the final Tribal Council. In front of me are the final three: Richard, Scott, Shelley. You three have done what your 15 other competitors were not able to do, navigating all the unprecedented twists upon this season to get here to the end. And as I have approached other games as thinking this way, you've done half of your job here. You've navigated the alliances, you've made the moves that you feel was most necessary to benefit you in the game. You've outpositioned, you've outperformed, you've outwit, you've outplayed, you outlasted. Now you have to outspeak, outconvince your two other opponents and appeal to the jury as to why they should vote for you to be the winner of Spellbound Survivor. So we've went over some of the logistics. Welcome everybody who is tuning in live. This is the first live tribal that I've done in a little bit because I've had to record some things. But just a couple logistics that we need to get out the way. Opening statements and closing statements for the finalists are 5 minutes each. They can choose to concede their time, but they cannot allocate any of their leftover time to their closing speech or grant them to other jurors. So if you only take 2.5 minutes, that's it. That's your opening speech. You choose to concede that time. That's all you get for opening speech. That does not mean you can bring that to your closing speech so you have more time at the end of Final Tribal Council. Same thing goes with all of the jurors here. We would traditionally do them by elimination order. Some have requested to go earlier, some have requested to go later. They have 7 minutes. If they choose to concede their time, they cannot give that or grant that to other jurors or grant that to other finalists, that and forth. Um, I have said that I will be randomizing the order to which you guys will be giving your opening speeches, and I'm going to be doing that live here. And for closing speeches, it is going to be the inverse of that. So right here, I have the list. I have not randomized it yet. Okay, this is what it is. So for opening speeches, it's Richard, Scott, Shelley. So Richard, you will go first. I will set a timer and display it on here. And the only intervals I'll show you the timer are when the timer first starts, and that's when you're allowed to speak. Halfway, so 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and when you have 1 minute left, and when you have 20 seconds left, in case you do want to concede at any point, just to give you a rough estimate of how much time you have left for your speeches. Same thing goes with the jury. When it starts, half of that time, a minute left, 20 seconds. Those are the intervals to which you should be expecting me to pop back up with time left on. So Richard, are you ready, my guy? All right, but your 5 minutes start now.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jacob. First, before I start, I just want to give production like a big shout out and thank you for having me to this game, facilitating it. It's been a crazy ride, 6 weeks in adversity. I thought you guys handled yourselves very well, and I really enjoyed playing this game. To my castmates and jury members, it's been a pleasure to play with y'all. I want to make one thing very clear. When I came into this game, I came in it for one thing and one thing only, and that was to win. I play these games for competitions, for the competition and not to make friends. And although I do feel as if I made friends in this game and hope to continue those after this, my primary purpose in being here and sitting here tonight is to let y'all know I'm here to win. I will settle for nothing less. I'm here for first place. I didn't come in with some prepared speech or some written down bullshit to make y'all think that I played this wonderful game. I went out there and fucking did it. I let my actions speak louder than any words could. And if any of y'all are a fan of Survivor, which I know most of y'all are, and I can appreciate great gameplay, you should definitely vote for me tonight. I think that I'll make an amazing representative of this season and amazing winner of this game. Um, I never relied on just one part of my game to get by. I think that I was the best all-around player. I was strategically dominant. I socially adapted and was aware. I physically and mentally excelled in almost all of the challenges that we were given. I tried my hardest every single time. I busted my ass in the scavenger hunt and in the group phase of this game. And I moved with precision and with purpose every single round. Um, I think that the two players that are sitting with me were incredibly loyal to me, and I think that Scott was an incredible social player and Shelley was a good strategic player, but neither of them had the all-around game like I do. Um, I won the most immunities this season and never really had to rely on winning to get by. Um, I collected the most advantages this season. I had an Emerald Idol from the pre-merge on, and an extra vote. I had landed on 4 pink pieces the whole game. The idol board, I own that shit. I made it to Emerald City not once, but twice. In the pre-merge and the post-merge, I held my idol all game. Um, I even bluffed it. It was only good till final six. I made everybody think it was good till final five to keep myself safe an extra round longer. And also, if there was a knowledge is power in the game, and someone tried to steal it from me at five, great, have my idol. Guess what? You're not taking my extra vote. Scott, I put the extra vote on you when Nathan went home. I thought he was going to vote for you too. I was gonna clearly make it look like it was Nathan on his way out the door that voted you twice. Unfortunately, he didn't show up, but that's something that you don't know and something I did on my own. A lot of us, we did moves together, but there are moves that I made in this game by myself for me, pushing my agenda solely. So I think everybody here, when you look in the grand scheme of the game, I hope that y'all are proud of the game that I played. You know, obviously, I had to, everybody sitting here, I voted out, with the exception of Jeremy. And yeah, I feel really proud of the game that I played. I'm not a cocky person or self-confident person in real life. You know, I struggle daily with looking at the mirror and liking what I see back, but when I look in the mirror of this game of Spellbound, I fucking love what I see. I love the game that I played. This is my second Survivor game. I was invited to this game because in the first game that I played, a production member from this game was in it and loved the way that I played too. This is my second Survivor game, second final tribal council, never been voted out of the game once. So that should just go to show that it's not a fluke. I know what the fuck I'm doing. I hustled this game and I am here to win. Like I said, I will settle for nothing less. I want first place. It's fitting that I got to go first because that's exactly where I should be. Thank you. Please vote for me.
All right. Thank you, Richard. All right, Scott, you ready, my boy? I just realized. Oh, it's alphabetical order. That's cute. I just realized that now. D, it didn't even move. I randomized it. Damn. Okay. 5 minutes. Go start. Three, two, one. Now.
All right, thank you. Hello, jury. I first wanted to thank you all for such a fun roller coaster of a season. What a ride. This couldn't have happened without each and every one of you, and for that, I am thankful. Coming into this game, I didn't know what to expect. I knew for the first thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to find a few people that I vibed with and that I could form strong, meaningful bonds with. Immediately, I found that in Jared, Richard, and Jeremy. The goal was to try to get the four of us to work together. But the first couple days went on. It was clear to me, at least, that the plan was not going to work because Jeremy and Richard were hesitant of Jared, to the point where there was a plan to vote Jared out at the first tribal council. I was never keen on voting out Jared, so when Xander decided to go rogue and started stirring shit up, I saw that as a true blessing and opportunity for a close ally of mine to stay in the game, and that is what happened. Fast forward to round 3, I really feel like I was starting to get my footing in the game, and I had developed strong relationships with the 3 I previously talked about, while also starting to develop close bonds with Rafi and Nathan. But then the swap came, and thankfully I had Rafi, but with a 3 to 5 disadvantage, it did not look good for me. I knew I wanted to stay alive in the game, and I knew if I wanted to, I was going to have to try to win over the hearts of these people in the majority on my new tribe. It was hard because I had people like Shelly come to me very early on and told me for the first round at least, it was going to be tribal lines. So I needed to light a fire under my ass. I knew that I had to get to work and start winning over my fellow tribe mates by any means necessary. It ended up being successful as I was able to make it through round after round in that situation with my social skills. Fast forward to after the One World. After that, things became a lot more stressful because we went to every tribal but one after the One World. But I was able to form the bonds I needed to make it to the merge, to the point where I went into the merge with 2 final 3s and a final 5 solidified. My main strategy at this point was to have a solid alliance along with a smaller core inside that alliance. Once me hit the merge, I decided the main goal for myself was to do what I had to do to get to the end. 95% of winning Survivor is just making the end. So I had to focus on what path would take me there. That meant ultimately having to choose which side I wanted to ride with. At the final 10, Rafi and I had the choice to work with the other side, and I chose to stick with Jeremy's side that was voting Nathan and vote Nathan out. I knew Rafi was chomping at the bit to flip, but I stuck with voting Nathan because I ultimately knew that flipping would spell my doom. Moving forward, I decided to use that mystery extra vote that someone had used the round before in a way that was most beneficial to me. Both sides believed that I voted with them, so I choose to let them believe that. I did, however, make my bet at this point and put my foot down when I decided to play a steal a vote to give my side that I wanted to stick with the numbers to stay in the game. The numbers to stay in the game. I had 3 goals by playing my steal a vote. By playing it on Nathan, an idol would get used on him. Then voting Chris-Ann would help weaken Nathan by taking out a close ally and flushing out an idol in the process. Lastly, I wanted to show my cards publicly. I wanted to make that display to be seen in the eyes of everyone in the game and on the jury that I was playing hard so nobody could think I was coasting. People were not happy, and I was called fake multiple times from a game since they weren't exactly wrong. I definitely played both sides and did what I had to do to survive, but that's the game. Y'all can call me fake, but I call it playing Survivor. What you saw of me was the real me. I can't fake being myself. I fought my ass off to get to this point. I was voted most likely to win in touchy subject, which is normally a death sentence in these games, and I still made it to the end. I was also able to make it to almost make it to the very end before receiving a vote. Thanks, Richard. I put my whole heart and soul into this game, and I will continue fighting to earn all of your votes. I said before that 95% of winning Survivor is just making it to the end. I want to finish that 5% tonight. Thank you all, and sorry for yelling.
All right. Well, thank you, Scott. Last but not least, Shelly, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Adam, out of their sport. 3, 2, 1. Timer starts now.
So, there is one elephant in the room I need to address right away. I wasn't sure if I wanted to say anything about this at all because I realized that I am still in the game, and even if my intentions are true, this could still be perceived as being emotionally manipulative, and that's not my intention. But I don't think that I could live with myself if I didn't speak up against something that was happening in this game that I believe was very wrong. And there is one person sitting in this final 3 that does not deserve to win, and that is Scott. Scott, everything that he just said were his moves. He needed constant reassurance and coaching to get through even some of the most basic gameplay concepts. He leached himself onto Richard and I, and we were forced to spend hours and hours and hours reassuring him and spending time with him. And the way that he forced us to spend time with him went beyond the game. He weaponized anxiety and emotionality in a way to make himself to endear himself to me. Nathan, you even said to me at one point that you noticed a certain aspect of this behavior in Scott. So I believe that you know what I'm talking about. Alex, I don't know if you're here. I mentioned to you something about this in a moment of emotion. Giraffes, I told you straight up how I felt. So I believe that some of you know that what I am saying is not bullshit. Scott love bombed me so hard and then would turn and snap at me over nothing. And I find his behavior to be disturbing in ways that go beyond the game. I want tonight to be about celebrating the game of Survivor and not get trapped in some of this negativity. I want to talk about strategy. I want to talk about moves. Vote for me. I think I played an amazing game. Don't vote for me. It is what it is. I'm happy with how I played, but I am begging you not to reward his shitty behavior. So I'm already like way more worked up than I thought I would be. But now that that is out of the way, I am really looking forward to coming clean about the great many lies I told in this game. And starting with what I told you all I do for a living. The truth is, I am not a tax collector. I am a fraud investigator. The skills that I have as an investigator in real life are used to convict white collar criminals. And if I'm being completely honest, it was extremely fun to be able to use my powers for evil for once. Drabs, I am so sorry I lied to you. When I told you I voted for Grace, I voted for Alex and I blamed it on Nathan. Alex, again, don't know if you're here. I lied to him after the merge when I pretended to be on the bottom. In fact, there were a lot of times that I pretended to be left out of votes because I knew people would see me as a possible number for whatever plans they wanted to concoct. And that helped me gather the information that I needed to gather in this game. The only vote I was on the wrong side of was when Raffi betrayed our alliance, which, by the way, Raffi, you got me so good. You could have a future in crime. Other than that, I was not surprised by a single vote in the game. I knew about almost every single advantage and disadvantage in the game. I knew about Giraffe's lost vote in the first tribal. I knew about Scott's steal a vote. I found out about Richard's Emerald Idol immediately and his extra vote. Nathan, I knew about the tandem vote and the Ruby Slippers, and that was a huge part of the reason I never ended up working with you long term, because I baited you so hard, twice, with a door wide open to tell me about those two things, and you never did. I know you all think that Giraffes was my ride or die, but the truth is, during the Twister event, I met Richard, and it was like meeting a kindred spirit. We stayed on a voice chat that night for, I think, like 7 hours, and we hung out together until the wee hours of the morning almost every day we were in the game together. I just knew that there was no one else that I could ever want to play this game with at the same level that Richard could play it with me. The reason that you all thought Giraffes was my ride or die was because I let you believe that in order to hide the true nature of my real ride or die relationship with Richard. And between the two of us, we ran this game. That said, I never had an advantage. I never won immunity, and I definitely didn't have a super idol in my pocket. All I had was my moxie. Richard never had to deal with the consequences of his actions. He always had a get out of jail free card. I had to navigate every single problem with nothing. And who wouldn't play ballsy and take huge risks like that when they're completely stacked with artillery, which is a function of the game that is completely luck-based? So I'm totally out of time, but I'm really excited to answer all of your questions.
All right. You guys have completed all of your opening statements with very little time to spare as well. We are trying to fix something. Just please bear with us for a couple moments. In the meantime, I know that Jeremy, I believe that is iPhone right there. I know that you will go first.
Oh,
So
I was
once
about to say I'm about to hit my dead zone anyway, so hopefully whatever you have takes.
just give us just please one moment. All right. So we are good now. Jeremy, you are the first juror to go. Are you ready?
Yeah, can y'all hear me? I'm in the
Yes.
worst bit of cell service I got, so this will be fun. Cool. How much time do I got?
7 minutes. You could choose to concede it at any
7.
point.
Neat. All right.
3, 2, 1.
Well, all right. Bunch of old people. Congratulations for making me. We'll start out with a softball. What was the goal for each of you in the round that I left? Like, and I'm not talking like basic strategy, like at that point before when we start with Shelly.
My goal was to keep our alliance strong, and I consider this round to be the round that I made the biggest mistake in the game, because you told me something in confidence that I didn't keep in confidence. I told Raffi what you had told me about your fears about him. At the time, I was in a final 3 alliance with him and Scott, and I believed that that connection was strong and that I could use that information to make our entire alliance stronger. I believe that Raffi was always going to switch. I've since like come to believe that, but I do believe that my not keeping that in confidence was a contributing factor that cost you your game. And so that is that was my biggest mistake in that round. My goal was to make our alliance stronger, and that is the one thing that I failed at that round.
Richard?
Yeah, so Jeremy, I'll be honest with you. I had one solidified final 3 the whole game. These two had like multiple final 3s with everybody just making them to make them. Both the people that I made a final 3 I'm sitting with right here, the 4 that I believe that I was the contributing factor in all 4 of us getting together. I was riding middle-aged mafia to the end of this game. I was so upset the round that you went home. That was the one round in this game that I lost power for a moment, but I think that the resilience that I showed after that round in order to fine-tune my game was ultimately what led me here. And if I'm hearing this right, and Scott is telling me that he's claiming a strategic game and he used an extra vote to vote out his ally, that is like completely because he's saying he had an
I'll just
extra
tell you,
vote.
I had a penalty vote. It was nobody had.
Oh, okay. Because he's saying he had an extra vote. I guess he's talking about his steal a vote. With the steal a vote, that thing was literally a softball. Scott got a star. You know them toy pieces when you're a kid where you put the square in the square hole and the circle in the circle hole? Scott was literally given a star and there was nowhere else to put it. Like, obviously, you play the steal a vote on somebody who you're not voting out. Like, any fool would have picked up on the fact that you use your steal a vote on Nathan that round. Giraffes, you were the first person to say that you didn't want to vote Nathan that round, that you wanted to vote somebody else in case he did have an idol. You were the one that brought that up, not Scott. All he did was get the steal a vote and played it exactly how anybody who's ever watched Survivor would have played it. But the fact that I had literally one solidified deal this whole game and I'm sitting with both of them, personally, I should have never even been allowed near this final tribal council. Both of them stayed loyal to me. They both should have voted me out last round. I know that you guys saw another side of me last night being emotional. That had nothing to do with me being scared about going home or scared about going to fire. I knew exactly what was going to happen. Giraffes, I fucking felt for you in that moment. You deserve to be here. And hearing you say that you were underestimated and overlooked, I saw you last night for what you were, Giraffes. You were a competitor in this game. You played an excellent game. You deserve to be here. And I want you to
Okay,
know
let's move on.
if I
Let's
want
move on to
immunity.
Scott. We're not answering my question anymore and haven't been for a minute.
All right, okay.
First of all, I did not say I used an extra vote. I was saying I was using the extra vote that was used as my benefit. I did not have an extra vote. Also, my goal that round, Jeremy, was for you to stay. I had a chance to flip and vote for you, and I didn't. I wasn't making that mistake again. That's That's my goal, was for you to stay that round. That's it.
Alrighty. And now for the fun part, and I think Scott addressed this somewhat in his opening speech, but for me, the goal is not just to make it to the end of the game. The goal is to make it to the end of the game in a winning position. So I want you to tell me what separates you in particular from the other two players and times that you undermined the other two players and made them look worse throughout the game. And we'll go in reverse order. So we will start with you, Scott.
Oh no, I'm honestly kind of done, so I'm not going to answer the question, honestly. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do, honestly.
Okay. Richard?
Yeah, I think that I outwardly told people that I was playing a round by round strategy, but what I was doing was solving the round and then looking forward. I was walking down the street with the biggest, baddest artillery in my pocket, and I never had to pull that thing out one time, not once. Never even thought about having to play. I could have played it on you, Jeremy, that round, but I thought I'd be showing my cards too early with that many people left in the game. Similar to, what Rafi did with his idol with Nathan. I thought it was just too early for that. I would have loved for you to stay in the game and for us old people to ride it to the end. I think that there was times where I undermined both of these people in the game. I knew Scott was close with Jared and with V, and Shelly took V out. I took Jared out and literally left Scott with nothing. He clung on to our power. He knew we were running the game. And yeah, that's how I set myself up. I came here to win.
Shelly?
My biggest strategy in the time we have left is that I effectively distanced myself from both of these people, not by having to put them down or be fake, but just to hide the nature of my loyalty to them.
All right, thank you very much, Jeremy, for your time. We move on to, because I know we mentioned it being initially in the elimination order. I'm just double checking the order right here. Jared, you ready, my boy?
I'm ready.
All right. Your time is going to start in 3, 2, 1, now.
Okay, first off, congratulations to all three of you. Always have to say that because it's very difficult to get in your position. Next off, again, everything I'm about to say is just game. There is nothing personal in anything that happens tonight. So I'm going to start off with a fun tradition in orgs. So I want you all to close your eyes. And I want you to raise your hand as of right now if you think you have my vote. Okay, you can put your hands down if you put your hand up, and you can open your eyes. I didn't want to do the whole go through every jury member because that's boring. So we're going to go one by one here. I'll start with Scott. Scott, I know you're frazzled right now, and I just want to tell you to breathe because I feel like I'd be just as frazzled as you are. I will just reassure you in my perspective, because I feel like you need that right now. I didn't feel that way, not going against what Shelly said, because her feelings are valid. But for me, I didn't feel that way. I thought we had great conversations. And when we talked on my drive to Chicago, it was a fun time. So I just want you to validate you with that. So my question to you, if you want to answer it, is where was I on your priority list of loyalties? Because it seems like from what I've been told and what you've said, you had multiple number ones, but I felt like we were each other's actual number ones. And I was really open with you with everything. So I just want to hear about that. The other twist to my speech is that I'm giving you each a time limit so that everyone gets a fair chance of speaking. So Scott, you can start whenever.
I'll be honest, this isn't jury pandering. This is something these people do not know. I mean, maybe they know because they are smart cookies. But when we were on OJ Leone, you were my number one. not Richard, not Jeremy. Yes, I made other people think that they were my number one, but you were my number one. You were the one I wanted to ride with. I did not want to vote you out that round. So I am there. I have a hard time speaking up with things. And that's why I'm really not the best in these types of situations. But when everything with Xander went to shit, that's why I was so happy, because you got to stay. And I really was planning on going the whole road with you. And we got swapped away from each other. We met back up at the One World, and then you literally got eliminated in that round of the live night. And also, the reason I ended up voting for Jeremy was because I did have an inkling that you probably would be getting votes, and I did not want to vote for you. So that is one of those reasons.
Okay.
And that's where you were. You were my true number one at the beginning of this game.
Okay. Thank you. Richard, my question for you is, so the perception of the jury is that you're a snake and that you kind of just slithered your way around. So apparently it seems like you were close to these two. What was your actual strategy in this game and when it came to loyalties? Also, I'm going to give you a caveat here. If you claim voting me out one more time, you will lose my vote. So do not claim that, because that's not what happened. And begin.
Okay. No, it's a good question. And what I'm claiming is that I voted for you that round. Once Ryan and Tommy left the game, I knew that I was not going to be your main priority. And by this time, like, I had formed my bond with Shelly, so I knew in which route I was going to be going in. My early round strategy was to just form bonds, grind the idle board, and collect information. Me and Shelly solved the whole pre-merge idle board in the One World round. We knew where every advantage and disadvantage was on the board. And in the post-merge, I used most of the information came through me that we put together for the idle board. The stuff from Nathan and Rafi with the ruby slippers, the lollipop. Me and you, Jared, shared information about the idle board and where you had landed, that your magic had wore off, and Nathan with the apples hitting his head. So I gathered information. I think that I was good at a lot of things. I was never great at one specific thing, and that made it to where I was always competitive and had a chance to win at any given time, but I never was looked at as like this major, huge threat. So I was forming bonds, collecting information, trying to set myself up for future rounds, and keeping my head down to where people didn't look at me and be like, yo, we got to get him out ASAP. So that's what I did. And Jared, just on a human level, the round that you went home was brutal. It was kind of like a fluky round. I didn't know how many votes you were getting. I literally threw a vote on you to make it look like it was Alex, because I was the one that voted Alex in the Tommy round, and he thought it was you. And if y'all were butting heads, that means nobody was looking at me. I set that
Okay,
up
I'm going to cut
by
you off
myself.
there just to make sure Shelly has time. Shelly, you're in a weird position with me because we unfortunately didn't get to play together, but that's also can be good for you. So I want to hear, oh shit, really quickly, what is something that the other two did better than you in this game?
Scott did nothing better than me, except for maybe his social game has an element to it that I've already discussed what I think about his social game. I don't want to rehash it. I do genuinely believe that Richard's ability to crunch the numbers and come up with good strategic plays is marginally better than mine. I will concede that.
Thank you, Shelly. I'll concede the rest of my time, but good luck to all three of you tonight.
Thank you very much, Jared. All right, so we move on to our next juror in order. Chris Ann, are you there?
Yeah, give me a second to get good lighting.
I'll
Need
give
these
you.
bitches to see me. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so your timer starts in 3, 2, 1, now.
Um, this is crazy because I actually wrote down what I was gonna say and I had a speech and everything. And then Shelly started speaking. I was like, well, damn, I can't really be asking all those things now. I don't really have questions. I have a rant because it's my time and I'm just gonna use it. Um, Richard, I think you already know how I feel about like what I said. You are a fake bitch. And I'm glad that you said you didn't come here to make friends. You came to play and win the game. Um, that's good for you. You're not getting my vote. Scott, you already know you wasn't getting my vote. Um, Shelly, when you went in on Scott, I was like, okay, I feel that. I'm not the only person who feels that way because why are you ending calls with me? Love you, bye. Love me. That's diabolical. That's crazy. And then to ignore me 2 hours before tribal council, these two at least messaged me to fake something. You didn't even message me to fake something, but the night before, you're on my line, love you, bye. You see how that's crazy, right? You see how that, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna tell you guys something like, I can't stand all three of you. And I was very serious when I said go to hell. And I was unbiased towards all three of you when I started. However, I feel like I already got what I needed to get from Shelly. If you want to take Jacob, how much time I have left?
5 minutes or so.
All right. So Shelly, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to say what it is that you feel like you didn't have enough time to say in the beginning.
I think that while I will concede that Richard played a great strategic game, his taking credit for the loyalty amongst our alliance is ridiculous. More than I think 3 people in this game unironically called me the glue girl, which is apparently a reference to this season of Survivor that I haven't even watched, that I don't even get yet. I used everything that I know about cults and human psychology and tribalism to make sure that people stayed loyal to me. I parked myself in voice chats for hours and hours and hours on end just so people knew that I was not out scheming evil, because they actually knew where my physical presence was the entire time. I lied to Giraffes at one point about having Scott's steal a vote. Scott had asked me to keep this in confidence that he had a steal a vote. I didn't. Well, I kind of did. I claimed that it was mine in order to prevent Giraffes from potentially trying to seek out a new position in the new power dynamic, because at that time our alliance was perceived to not have the numbers because Raffi betrayed us. Giraffes the whole time told me that she played like Sandra, so I was constantly in the back of my head like, is this the round where Giraffe slits my throat? So I constantly kind of had my eye on her, and I had to use these tactics of human psychology in order to keep people loyal to me. So I'm not gonna let Richard or Scott take the social game cue away from me, because like I nailed that shit. I will say that post-merge, my moves were much more political. It was much more about ensuring that loyalty, ensuring that I drove an us versus them narrative, and making people feel like, gosh, why would anybody take Nathan to the end? Chrisanne and Raffi had terrible things to say when they left Tribal. They just basically said, like, they're basically implying that, like, they're gonna vote for one of their friends, so let's make them vote for one of us. So I'm sorry, Nathan, that's another reason why, like, I never like could work with you long term, because I felt like you were a surefire gonna win. I think that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Chrisanne.
Alrighty. Alrighty. I'm a feminist through and through, and I like when we're just women. So good luck with you. I am a bitter drawer to my core, and I'm gonna die that way. Richard, I do think you played a phenomenal, outstanding game. But so did, what was that guy's name? So did Russell. and we know what happened to him. So, yeah. Good luck, everybody, and don't fuck it up. Jacob, I concede my time.
Thank you, Chrisanne.
Okay. All right, we move on to the next juror on our agenda. Rafi, are you in attendance?
Yes.
All right, bet. Your timer starts in 3, 2, 1, now.
Wow, y'all really gagged it. I'm gagged. Y'all keep it entertaining through and through. I'm impressed. So I guess I'll just go through my questions. I want who do I want to hear from first? Okay. Richard. All right. Several times throughout the game, you've made certain statements that members of the jury did not deserve to win due to their activity level and perceived effort they put into the game. And right before I was voted out, I remember that you stated that Giraffes and Grace were the two people that you fit this category, Do you still stand by that statement? If you do, why do you believe that? And if you don't, did you change your mind, or was it something you never believed?
Yeah, I would actually thank you for this question. I would love to clarify. There were so many people that came to me and said that they were getting nothing from Giraffes. I talked to Giraffes every single day, and like they were playing this game the whole time. And I wasn't even like mad at people for saying that. I was genuinely sad for these people that they didn't get to have the connection with Giraffes that I got to have. And like I really saw Giraffes last night as a competitor and somebody that when they were speaking, I would have given them my vote if I was on that jury. I think it's crazy that Shelly is saying that the whole I gave her the idea to go to Giraffes and say the steal a vote thing was hers. I literally gave her that idea. Nathan can verify. I brokered the deal for her to claim the Grace vote when I set that up. Like you're shaking your head. Nathan can attest to it. I was the one that came up with the idea that said, Nathan, you should say you voted for Alex, and Shelly say you voted for Grace, so that way Giraffes wouldn't feel any type of way with Shelly. I was always here playing the game for one purpose, and that was to win. I know people think that I'm a snake, but I think it goes to show my social game was so good that at least in one round, I've worked with every single person on the jury and also worked against them. So you might think I'm a snake. I came here to play.
Okay, Richard.
Love to address that at some
Sorry, Shelly, we'll get to your question, but I just want to say real quick, Richard, I appreciate you as a player in this game. I'm sure I would love to watch you on TV, but if I have any advice for you for these next few questions and closing statement, just tone it down a little. Remember, we are still people at the end of the day. So hearing that you feel like sad for us and, oh, look how I played this person, played these people, it doesn't really feel good. We know you've played us. You just need to explain to us why. And so I'll move on to Shelly. Shelly, my question is a bit redundant because it's you please talk trash about the other two people's games. And I feel like you've already talked about one of them. So let's move on to the other. Please, I will give you the time now to explain to me why Richard doesn't deserve to win.
I kind of alluded to this in my opening speech, but the idol board at the end of the day was a function of the game that was entirely luck-based. I at least have the wherewithal to know that you don't piss off the guy with the nuke. So it's funny to me that Richard says that he came up with the idea. I believe Richard and I came to a lot of ideas together. I don't want to take that away from him, but I would just like to say that I was literally over the Atlantic Ocean for 30 hours that night. That was the one night of the game I didn't have time to put as much time as I had into it. Any idiot would have chosen to do that, to blame my vote on Nathan, to blame my vote on so like, yes, did Richard technically say it first? I guess. Was that some like brilliant moment of strategic element? Like, no, not really. I landed in Germany and was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes total sense. Thank you for confirming what I would have done anyway.
Okay. All right, I guess if you're done answering. Scott, Can you just okay? So as we mentioned, the perception in the jury is while yes, I understand that you chose a side, but it kind of just felt like you chose a side and you stuck with it. You didn't really make moves that only benefited yourself. So I would just like to say, can you describe to me any move that you made in this game that was purely selfish, that only benefited you?
I'll be honest. I tried surprisingly in my actual life, I try to be an honest person, even though people don't think so. But I I don't think I can say one. I think I did do a lot with my group. I don't know of a move that was selfish that I did. I could try to say steal a vote, but the others have said that that's really not a move to try to make good. So yeah, that I don't think I have one.
Okie dokie. And yeah, Jacob, how much time do I have left?
Almost a minute, a little bit over a minute.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna use all my time. Thank you. So even if I rant, um, so I just want to emphasize, because Shelly, I've definitely talked to you about this. As a juror, yes, I do appreciate a good selfish move, but I also appreciate like respect in a way, you know? You gotta vote people out and make sure that they respect you for it. Not that they don't dislike you for it, they respect you for it. You're not trying to make the jury like you, you're trying to make the jury respect you. So that's I know I said I was gonna play bitter, and I kind of am, but I see bitterness as a way that you lost my respect in a way in the game. So that's what I'll say about my vote. It's going to the person who earned my respect, because I can say this person earned it. They didn't have it before I walked in here, but now they do. All right,
Thanks.
that's
All right, but well, thank you so much. We're gonna move on to the next juror on our agenda. Where is it? Oh no, I'm not me scrolling up the wrong chat. Oops. Um, Grace. Grace, are you in attendance?
I'm here with a friend.
Okay, well, you and your friend can start in 3, 2, 1 now.
Alrighty. First things first, before I get into my question and everything, I just want to say congrats to all three of you. Like, no matter what happens and no matter the outcome, the fact that you three did make it to this point in the game, you guys should still be very proud of yourselves, no matter what. All right, so I have a question and I have a little bit of a statement. I'm going to be doing a statement after the question because I really want to hear the answers before I get into it. So, I want to talk about a specific moment that came up in the jury roundtable last night. And I wanted to ask it as a question here. So, there was a point where where everyone, I wasn't there, but I did go back and I listened to the whole entire thing where everyone was talking about you three collectively. And Rafi specifically brought up the three of you, why did they vote Grace? And I'm going to be asking how getting me out benefited each of you in this game, considering that I was obviously the biggest GOAT in this game. And Rafi asking that, there was a couple giggles that came with it in that jury roundtable, which showed there I was not going to have any votes at all to win this game. So all three of you would have had a way better chance at snatching this than I could have. So I just want to know how it benefited you guys getting me out, who was going on the verge of being a 0 vote finalist, and you guys not taking a shot at a bigger threat. And all I'm going to ask is please be 100% honest, 1,000% honest in this answer, because I did hear some things when I came into that jury chat that I'm not a fan of, and I will be addressing that after I hear y'all's answers. But I want to hear y'all's answers first before I go into that, because I want to know the true reasons. Anybody can go first. I don't care.
I'll go. Grace, I enjoyed playing this game with you. I wish that we had gotten to talk more along the way. I obviously know you had work restrictions. But for me personally, from Final Five on, it was all about, I knew that once Final Five was over and Nathan went home, which by the way, neither of these people were willing to sit next to Nathan at the end. I was. Everyone else wanted him out. I wanted him in the game because I'm not scared to go up against competitors. But for you specifically, you came in second 2 times in a row in the last two immunity challenge, and I really saw that you were bringing it in the challenges. I worked with you in the round before, and we collectively got out Nathan. I was the one that bring that to the forefront and bring that to you, but getting you out was to set me up better. I already had a final three with these two, and we were in a group with giraffes also. So I had already had my thing set in place, and I thought that you would be my biggest competitor in the immunity challenges.
Anybody can go next.
I'll go next. For me, it was just totally about my ego. There's like a way that I want to win this game, and I'm being 100 when I say that I want to lose to a competitor. I will not lose one wink of sleep if I lose to Richard. The one regret that I have is Scott winning final immunity, because we were going to vote him out, and it would have been giraffes here in the final three. Because I know people perceive her as being a goat. I will say, like, time spent in game was certainly not quite at the level of me and Richard and Scott, but she was like a silent assassin. The things that she said in the round that we voted out Chris Ann were like diabolical. She was like, she engaged in a level of mental warfare that was very effective. So time spent, how she spent her time with like the other side, so to speak, maybe people didn't get to see that part of her, but she was a presence in this game, and she deserved to be in this final three, and we should have simply voted Scott out earlier so that we all could really feel good about losing to competitors.
Okay, go ahead, Scott.
Hello, Grace. So you want me to be 100. I will be 100. One of the reasons that I thought voting you out was a good idea was because you didn't piss people off. A lot of people liked you. So, and this isn't jury pandering, this is honest. Like, you didn't piss people off. If you were in the end, I could see people giving you votes. And I will be honest, I did say a couple times, and I feel bad about it now, especially sitting here and realizing my own fate. I said that I would be a little upset if someone that was not as active made it to the end of the game. And I'm sorry for saying that. I truly am. And I'm not even pandering, because I know I have no shot in hell at this point. I'm just truly, as a person, just sorry for even saying those things.
Okay, and Scott, Jacob, how much time do I got? A minute 15. Okay. Scott, I want to thank you for bringing that point, because it's going to go to my statement. So, something that came to my attention when I came into that jury chat by a few people that were already there is that at some point, you three, and there were others in the game as well, they will be held accountable, that you guys would have been disgusted had I made it further than you. And you got Richard, you saying I didn't deserve to be here. And when you were just asked that question, you just completely dismissed me and only spoke on giraffes. I understand that you three and everybody else were probably very frustrated with what was happening with my schedule and how crazy it was. But the fact that I was hearing that people were disgusted that I was still in the game and that I could have had a potential path to go further, there could have been some kind of way I could have gone further. It's just like, I should have been voted out sooner. That's just it. It just doesn't sit right with me at all. But it is what it is, and I already felt enough guilt as it is that I kept taking spot after spot. So yeah, good luck to you guys, and y'all better kill it still.
Not me turning off my camera, trying to unmute. Thank you very much, Grace. We move on to the next person. Nathan, are you in attendance? All right, bet. Your timer starts in 3, 2, 1. Bam.
All right. I first want to say congratulations. I don't really have much to say. I think my decision is pretty much made up. Um, I don't know if they explained that I didn't self-vote. I actually forgot to vote that day. I got a little too drunk at EDC and forgot. But I don't really have any questions, so I don't know if anyone wants to like speak up right now and they could just say anything that they haven't gotten to say yet or any of that stuff. So I'll give you guys time.
I'd like to address what Grace just said, if I can.
Yeah.
I don't believe that it was me who used the word disgusting. Memories are shitty, and so like I hope like I didn't say that and then I'm forgetting about it. That would obviously suck for multiple reasons right now. What I said about you was that I didn't fault you at all for having the schedule that you have. It just didn't change the facts of reality. You had the schedule that you have, and that's literally nobody's fault. You played with the time that you had. You and I were never able to get to a point where we could solidify a relationship because of it, but it is not like a reflection of your character at all that you weren't able to do that. So if it was me that said that it was disgusting, I'm deeply sorry. It would have been said in a moment of emotion. And I'm sorry if I made you feel some kind of way about it.
I will say, Nathan, I wish that you were around on your last day to be around because like I was fighting for you, and I think ultimately we could have gotten Shelly to vote for Scott and kept you in the game. I truly wanted you here for me. I thought our connection was so cool, and like I respected you so much. And Grace, I addressed why I voted for you because you came in second twice. I never used the word disgusted. I always tried to treat people with respect. So it's crazy to hear Chris Ann compare me to Russell Hantz, even in the face of like the whole Raffi and Nathan versus Giraffes thing. When I talked to each of these people individually, I always tried to keep the peace, even though I knew it was good for me to try and stir the pot and make people hate each other. I always tried to be a voice of reason and be diplomatic in my approach with people. The one time that I did let my emotions take over in the game was with Raffi, and I obviously picked the right person because he loved it. Like he was like, "I love the way you were talking to me." So I really did try to make people feel respected, and um having the idol in my pocket made me think that other people could have idols too. So like I never went out of my way to lie to people except for when it came to the votes because I never wanted to tip my hat and let people have the upper hand to play an idol and make me waste mine. Um so yeah, I respect all of you, and I hope that you know that there was never any malice. I never used the word disgusting one time in regards to you, Grace. It was more so just about our activity levels versus yours. But for me personally, you are my biggest threat once Nathan left. Well, before Nathan left to win immunity. So
All right. And then Scott, I don't know if you want anything, if you want to say anything.
No, I'll chime in with the Grace thing. I don't know the words that I said, but if I did say disgusting, I'm not going to say I didn't say it because in the heat of the moment, I said a lot of things, as apparently we're finding out. And I truly, if I did say that, I apologize because I've been seen as a goat in games, and I guess I was one in this one and didn't even know it. So if I did call your game disgusting, my game was disgusting too, obviously. So I apologize to that.
I think I'm done.
You're gooch. Oh, well, no, okay, well, then. All right, well, thank you very much, Nathan. I'm going to move forward to Giraffes. Giraffes, are you in attendance? There she is. All right, your timer starts in 3, 2, 1. Right here.
So for me, it is not a true jury unless we have a Susan moment from season 1 from Borneo Survivor. And I am happy to give you that moment. I have thought long and hard about what comparisons I will make for you all. And I feel like last night during the round table, I got the best I could possibly ask for. Because I'm going to compare y'all to former winners of Survivor. Starting with the one that we came up with all together, which I feel is very fitting. And before I say anything, these are my opinions of the winners. Spellbound is not endorsing this or anything like that. Neither are any of the other juries. These are purely my opinions. So starting off with Richard, I would have to compare your game for me. I would have to agree with everybody else to Gabler from 43. Where to me, Gabler was a very strong strategic player. He had a mind for the game like nobody else. The only issue with that is that sometimes deficited his social game. And I feel like that was a common thread last night, as well as what I'm hearing now, and everything from my own feelings is, yes, I do feel like me and you did have to make a good connection and friendship, light, but ultimately, if you're getting votes, it's not because of your social game. You also, like Gabler, didn't really make any moves. The only move that I heard you say that you made was the Alex. And I'm sorry, but to me, one move doesn't really win or lick for me. Moving on to Scott. For me personally, I would have to compare you to Natalie White and Samoa. Again, ultimately, but unlike Gabler, ultimately, from when I was in the game, before everything started coming out, I was seeing the same things that you were. An amazing social threat. Up until Final Four, when me and Shelby had that conversation, I thought you would win hands down because of your social game. Again, not a single move made at all. But socially, nobody could have faulted you from what I was seeing at the time. And now to Shelly, my loving Shelly. You know what I'm about to say, I have a deep connection with. And I'm going to try not to get teary when I say this because it makes me think of somebody. I'm going to compare Shelly to Danny Boatwright from Guatemala. Was on the bottom from day one. Had to work her ass off every step of the way. Did not rely on anybody but her own skill, her own prowess, and her own strategical mind, with the help of her very fabulous friend, to get to the finale. And ultimately at the end, because she knew she would have lost hands down to them, voted them out. And I cannot fault you that, because in all honesty, I would have done the same. I thought about it for like a real quick second, but ultimately could not do that to you. And so with that being said, I have to ask my fellow jurors, who should we give the pleasure of winning tonight? The amazing strategical, what appeared to be a great social, or the more well-rounded person who ultimately, I'm going to also say this, for anybody who would have voted for me, I can honest to God truly say, any move I made, Shelly made. Any move Shelly made, I made. We were basically one player the entire time. I can see the rest of my time.
Thank you very much, Giraffes. And oh, looky here. Alex, are you there? Out there in the universe? No? Well, Alex, we know that there's a very good likelihood that he would not be able to attend the final, at least be on the Zoom for it. But unfortunately, we have to move on. We've gone through every other juror. And so I believe the most difficult part has now passed. And now, for the final time this season, you have one more job to do. You have to close your speech. If we're writing a story on why one of you should be the sole survivor of Spellbound, this is your opportunity to close that book. I lied. I'm an imbecile. Okay, so I did not know. Just quickly, close your eyes, all three of you. This is Alex's question. Alex sent in his question in advance. It's been brought to my attention because it's a little bit higher on his chat. Close your eyes and hold up between 1 and 10 fingers based on how confident you are that you're going to win, with 1 being no chance in hell that you'd win, and 10 being you've already got this in the bag, no question. Put your fingers up. Okay. Put your fingers down. Okay. Well, the jury all knows what those answers are. I will not be saying them to you, but I will be informing Alex, at the very least, of your guys' answers. But now we can get to closing speeches. Yes, Alex. Yeah, I see you in the jury chat. Yes, this is your question. Shelly, as this was the inverse of the opening speeches, you're going first. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
I don't have too much more to say that I haven't already had an opportunity to say tonight. I could not have possibly imagined a better way to start my journey into these Survivor orgs. I can't believe that I made it to 36 years old without realizing that this universe existed. I have enjoyed my time with everyone here, except for one. We don't need to go into that again. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with production. I'm just beyond thrilled. I guess the only thing I will say is one of the things that I felt like I had working against me the entire game was that this was my first game. It was even said to me pre-merge that people vote out new people specifically because it's a rite of passage to get voted out early in your first Survivor game. And that's maybe one of the few things in the game I took really personally. And I knew from that moment on that there was nothing that I would not say or do to win this game, because I was not about to let the universe of what I've come to learn is called Friend Viver. I was not going to let them break me. I just wasn't. And I've heard other opinions about this now. I've now heard that people like to see new players get to the end because, everybody kind of wants people to have a good experience in these Survivor orgs. And I guess all I will say is if that is weighing on your mind at all, whether for or against me, please reconsider. Don't let your vote be because I'm a woman or because I'm new or because I identify a certain way. None of that should matter. What should matter is that I played the best game here, hands down. And no matter what happens, I am going to be able to go to sleep at night knowing that that is the truth. And if you don't know that that's the truth at this point, that's on you. I can see the rest of my time.
All right. So we're doing the inverse. That means that the next person up is Scott. Scott, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, go.
I don't really have much to say. The other two said a lot already. I do want to say that I did truly enjoy playing with each and every one of you guys. I know that I am a lot to handle, and I did not realize I was coming off certain ways that I was, and I apologize. But I do enjoy playing these games, and I do really feel like I came in and played a game that I'd never played before. I used to not be able to win challenges. I used to be dragged as a goat. I guess I was this time as well. But with all that aside, I just want to know, regardless of what happened, regardless of what you guys think, I had an amazing time playing this game, and I truly do like each and every one of you, even if you do not feel the same. And I've enjoyed playing with each and every one of you. And I concede my time. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you very much, Scott. Last speech we had to get to. Richard, are you ready?
I'm so ready. Thank you.
No
Thanks
problem.
everybody for your questions. I really loved how you pushed all of us. You weren't easy on any one of us and really made it difficult with the questions. And that's just a reflection on how great this cast was. Everybody came to play and bring it, and I really like being a part of this experience. Like I said, I didn't write anything down in advance like these two. I'm speaking solely from my heart and my head, just like I've been playing this whole game. Giraffes, I do agree that you and Shelly did work hand in hand, and a lot of her moves were yours. I made moves solely by myself in this game multiple times, not just the Alex vote. I bluffed the idol an extra round. I flipped on my whole tribe when we got to the merge to better my position. I held an extra vote up until the very last minute. I never had to use any of the advantages that I had. That I used this whole game was my brain and my heart. My brain was always the one that was leading the way. I thought logically, voted logically every time, and I think a lot of people know that they were voted out by me and realized that I had a lot to do with it, and that's probably why a lot of people are sour on me right now. But I literally did what I had to do to get to this point and put myself in a position to win. I do believe that I shouldn't, they should have voted me out at Final Four. I don't claim responsibility for everyone's loyalty. I'm only claiming responsibility for each of these individuals' loyalty to me. I tried to have relationships with everybody in the game, always be sifting through information and collecting and distributing it as I saw fit. I was always playing the cards that I had dealt to the best of my ability, setting myself up round by round for success. Um, Most of these people wanted Nathan out of the game at like final 8, and I constantly worked against my alliance to keep him in the game. Because number one, I like Nathan. I wasn't scared to go against him in the end or go against competitors. I never once called anybody a goat. I never talked shit about anybody behind their backs. I can't say the same for both of these people. I tried to keep it 100 with everybody. The only thing that I ever really wavered on was telling you who I was truly voting for, and that's just part of the game. I think if I gave away all my secrets about voting to people, this game would have gone much differently. So I'm not going to apologize for any moves that I made, because I truly think that I wouldn't be here without those moves. But there were many moves in the game that I made by myself or I pushed to my alliance because that was the agenda that I wanted. Like I said, I'm not a cocky person in real life. I'm just confident in this game, and I really set myself up from the pre-merge on to win. And I do believe that I made true friendships in this game, and I hope that the people sitting here next to me and on the jury will allow me the chance after the game to continue our friendship. I think that I learn the most from people that are most different from me, and I'm not scared to embrace that. I don't surround myself with like-minded or people that are just similar to me. I always am giving everybody a chance, and I encourage people to be their true selves around me. I never ruled in chaos. I had power in this game the whole way. One round was the only round that I didn't know. Whoever played that extra vote on Jeremy that round, oh, he said he had a disadvantage. So that was literally the only thing I didn't know in this whole game was that disadvantage. And I was the king of information. And like I said, I really wanted to win this game. I came in with a fire under my ass to specifically be competitive and put myself in the position to win. I hope you all vote for me. I love you. Thank you very much. And I can see the rest of my time. Thank you.
Well, that does it. We have officially concluded Final Tribal Council. Now, all that your work is done is over. Now, the power shifts over to the jury, all the residents of Ponderosa, all the people that you may have had a hand in voting out of this game, to the jurors, I implore you to vote for the player you see most fit to represent this season, the person you think played the best game. Well, now you have this power. Go to your project, please cast your votes. Give me a moment, not only to tally up the votes, but I have something prepared for you all. We're going to be sending in the link to the pre-jurors, and afterwards we're going to have a reunion and an award show. We have some superlatives to give out. We got some awards that we need to get into, and now that the season's over, we can officially start releasing post-season stuff. We have the document, we have the preseason tribal councils, a lot of stuff that's going to have to be uploaded. So once you send in your vote, you're free to unmute and go back on camera, but until then, please leave them off. Thank you.
I already voted.
Hi, Valencia. Hi, kitty kitty.
He hates people.
Hi, Katie. Valencia. I loved meeting everybody's animals, by the way. That was like one of the best parts of my season.
I still remember the very first message you sent me in this game was literally about Evie.
Yeah, Evie. I saw your cat. I was like, oh.
In my intro, you were like, that's the first thing you were like, hi, by the way, your cat is so adorable.
Yeah, I literally watched everybody's intro videos and took notes. Like, there was one person that said to me this whole game, like, hey, like you're a poker player, and that was Shelly. And like I made her well, we became number ones. I don't want to say I made her my number one, but I was so scared that people were gonna target me for being a poker player.
Oh, I found out about that.
I
I
found
told
out
Scott
about
about
that.
it.
Yeah. So like I was nervous
has
that I
everyone's
was
votes been
gonna
cast?
be targeted as a hustler and all that.
Not everyone's, just
Okay,
everyone who's
okay,
come
I
on
won't say.
camera.
Everyone who's on camera.
Oh, okay. Wait, so I can say something like about somebody who's on camera? Maybe?
I guess, if you don't think it'll affect someone's vote.
Jared, you've already voted, right?
I have.
Okay. So I wish I had brought my notebook with me to Germany because legit, I would show you that I took notes during everybody's intro video and your name had a big star next to it because I was telling you the truth when I told you that I wanted to work with you in this game and it just never happened.
Oh, that's so funny.
Richard, I knew you were slick the minute we got on call together. I was like, I can't trust him. You can ask my
You could though. I literally wanted to work the whole way with you, Rafi, and then when you flipped that around, I was like, oh god, now I
I
gotta
had
fix them.
to. Y'all
No.
were trying to take over the entire game, and I
I
couldn't let you do
appreciate it.
that.
I thank you for like clocking me because I really was trying to hustle my ass off this game and also be low key. So being compared to Gabler's not the worst thing in the world.
I just know that I'm nobody's goat. If I see a threat, I take it out.
That's right. I understand. I get it. I'm glad that y'all appreciate the game and showed up tonight. Like that means a lot. I was scared we were only gonna get like 2 jury members. So the fact that all of y'all showed up like is big time. And Giraffes, I would have been so hyped to hear your final tribal speech because what you gave last night, like legit brought me to like I was sobbing the whole fucking tribal council. Like I was like, dude, you look like a huge baby now, but you got last night was hard. That was the hardest day for me in the game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I knew I was fucking the second I came on and saw Shelly was in tears. I was like, fuck.
And I also just want to say, because it's being brought up in the jury chat, all this long call bullshit, I had a 30-minute time limit with all my calls. I was not on a call for longer than 30 minutes because there was no way in hell any of y'all were getting 30 minutes of my precious time. Like, I'm so sorry. Love you all I mean,
I
not
wanted to
love.
be in and fucking out. Like, why
No,
were y'all talking
literally,
so much? God damn.
I'm clocking into the org. Like, I'm clocking in, I'm clocking out. Like, it's just too much.
No, I get that, man.
I'm probably on the opposite side of that spectrum. Like this game consumed me. To be honest, it was a very good distraction from some very serious IRL things that were happening. Like I think I needed that. But I will be setting some boundaries for my next org.
If anybody can appreciate showmances or watch Big Brother, me and Shelly had like the most serious low key showmance, and
It
nobody
was
was
not.
like,
Oh,
No,
it
I
was
heard
not
about
low
this.
key.
It was not low key.
If I don't know if like our chats become public at the end
No.
of this game. I think I was told that they weren't, but like
They weren't.
I am very sorry for how thirsty Richards and my chats were for like the whole game. It was a thing.
Speaking of whole game, it's now time for everyone to mute. My God, indeed.
good luck,
We're gonna,
everybody.
because we're gonna need one.
Good luck, guys.
This is the final moment. This is what we've all been waiting for. The tallying up of the final votes of the season. Before we get there, I just want to thank everybody, finalists, jurors, pre-jurors, whomever you are. Thank you so much for sending an application Spellbound Survivor's way. This is our first game shifting over to Discord. We were worried about app pool. We were contemplating bringing returnees back because we didn't think we'd have a full cast. Even days before, Keddy was not supposed to be on this cast. Like that's how bleak things look to be going on in the preseason process of making this game. So each and every single one of you, without you, there'd be no Land of Oz. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for devoting your time, your attention to this game. And after almost 39, damn it, if it was tomorrow, it would have been 39. But to today, 38, unless you count day 0, then it is 39 days. We finally have our winner. But Richard, Scott, Shelly, all three of you, no matter what placement you get, the number of jury votes that you garner, you should all be proud of your games. And since this is the first final three, I'm going to try something a little bit different, okay? Or at least keeping up with tradition. Richard, the king of Emerald City, donning the emerald necklace, from your first tribal council receiving a vote, all the way up into your last tribal council receiving a vote, but you never received any more votes in the middle there. From the moment that you donned on that necklace, instead of choosing to play recklessly, you chose to play smart and strategically, doing your best to maneuver yourself in round by round, integrate yourself in multiple different alliances, and to give reassurance that you are with people, even up until the very last second, right before votes are being read. You're giving countless reassurance to make sure that advantage-wise or politically, nobody was going to overpower you. And on the off chance that they did, you had the super idol around you, made that huge bluff, Tony Vlaco style at Tribal Council that we didn't record.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Richard, are you the winner of Spellbound Survivor Land of Oz? Scott, someone I personally recruited from a recommendation from CTC. From the moment that I got off that interview with you, I saw charisma, I saw tons of charm, I saw a humongous heart, as voted on in the Tense Ideas. From the moment that you stepped foot onto this island, you were immediately going into work, building those integral personal bonds that would allow you to get to yourself here. Some have endeared themselves to you. Some may have felt the most burned by you because of how much effort you were putting in forward to their personal relationship. But by hook or by crook, you've made it all the way, the furthest anyone has gone in Spellbound history without receiving a single vote to your name. Scott, are you the winner of Spellbound Survivor Land of Oz? Shelly, the start of your game was not much like Richard and Scott's. Instead, you were being confronted and fought against by Keddy at your first tribal council and had a humongous target painted on your back from the beginning of this game. You faced a myriad of adversity, narrowly surviving the tornado twist, narrowly surviving going home at the final 8, as well as the first tribal council that you had attended. But no matter what adversity you had faced, you kept persisting, you kept fighting onwards, and you found a way to cultivate a group around you that would continue to stay loyal and vote together all the way to the end. Shelly, are you the winner of Spellbound Survivor Land of Oz? I have the votes. You want to see your name written down here. And for those tuning in, I will now read the votes. First vote, Scott. Shelly. That's 1 vote Scott, 1 vote Shelly. Shelly. That's 2 votes Shelly, 1 vote Scott. Scott. That's 2 votes Shelly, 2 votes Scott. Scott. That is 3 votes Scott, 2 votes Shelly. Shelly, we're at tie again. That is 3 votes Scott, 3 votes Shelly, 2 votes left. Shelly, that's 4 votes Shelly, 3 votes Scott, 1 vote left. The winner of Spellbound Land of Oz, Shelly. That is 5, and tonight that is enough to be crowned the winner. Shelly, if you have any words, by all means, the floor is yours.
I don't thank you. Thank you for seeing in me what I saw in myself. You guys got Richard completely wrong. He deserved to win this game. He deserved to win more than me.